In this Sengoku Dynasty Priorities Explained video, I want to walk you through what the priority system is and why it's incredibly useful. So we've got the start of a village here and there's various things going on, and I can use the priorities to try and stop certain resources getting used or prioritize other ones being used instead by the villagers. So if you hit your tab button on the PC or screens button, have a little look in Dynasty, and you've got this area, priorities, and it shows you different things. You've got meals, heating, beverages, maintenance, health, security, spiritual, and luxury, and other. And these link to these down here. Because this is a starter village, the beverages isn't really important at the minute, but the whole system is very useful to think about how it works, and it all works the same way, so we can cover it here. If I unfold the meals, this is showing the priority at which villagers will consume stuff. So at the minute, the default is the number one thing they would eat over anything else is an egg, but not even a cooked egg, a raw egg. That's disgusting. So what we can do with this is say, look, I don't want you to eat a raw egg, you animal. I want you to eat something a bit more nutritious, like maybe a cooked egg. So if I go all the way down, you can see the 29th thing that is picked is a cooked egg. So what we can do is change the priority. If I drag this, I'm clicking the left mouse button here, you can see I can move it up here. And the black line is where it will go. So now my priority is cooked egg over egg. Now I may want, if I just move me down a little bit so you can see this a bit clearer, to say never, ever consume an egg, because I would rather cook them and you eat the cooked egg, which would be better for you. And if that's the case, you can go to the raw egg and say, don't ever consume this. So we're now saying, look, leave raw eggs alone and only eat cooked eggs if they are there. And then what goes on with the priorities is it goes down this sequence. So if there's no cooked eggs, it would go down to rice, but I haven't got any rice, so that's more of a problem. But you can see in my particular village at the minute, I set up a fishing hut. So fish are quite plentiful, but that's raw fish. So again, we don't want to eat raw fish. Again, that's pretty disgusting. So I'm going to lock that off and say, look, don't eat raw fish. However, if there's some cooked fish, you can eat that. So we're going to go and find that. So there's cooked fish. So I'm going to whap that right up the top because I'm going to give them a bunch of cooked fish. So I'm going to say eat cooked fish first, because that's probably more nutrition than cooked egg. And they're the two things that we want. Now you can make that a bit better as you progress through the game. So once you unlock the kitchen, you can make more nutritious meals. Like a solid meat meal would be much better for them and give them more sustenance. So you could lock more of these off over time. But at the minute, we've got those cooked fish is the main thing. But we can see there's none there. So until I have a kitchen where somebody can be put assigned to that, I need to be making these for people. So if I go to the sunken hearth here and cook, I should be making lots of cooked fish for them. So we just do this here. And until we make food storage, which will store it a bit longer, we want to be putting this in general storage. And I'll just show you this. So I'll just stop there. And I want to be making sure until things are a bit more developed that this is available for people. So where's my storage? There it is. So general storage here. And then if we pop those in, so you can see a stale time of 10. So they're going to go off in a little bit of time. So these are older ones that I've got here. So I might eat those myself. But these ones are going to be fresh for 48. So I'm going to store those. Actually, I've stored everything there. I didn't mean to do that. Let's move some of this stuff back. So we'll have those fish there. But if they're there, I can get access to them. But I just want my stuff. One thing to bear in mind is the stale time. This, because it's just general storage, these things will go quicker off than if you get dedicated food storage. Now, as well as your villagers, you of course need to feed yourself. If you're not sure how to do that, we just go to the tab. There's my cooked fish down the bottom. I can just eat it. And my green bar down the bottom left-hand side is moving up nice and quickly there as we do that. So hopefully that helps you out with that. So, you know, that's figuring out the priorities and how they all work. You'll get the same sort of thing if we have a little look at that again with the priorities with other things. So you want to be thinking about these different things. So heating, does it really make sense that they should be using the straw cloak above anything else for heating? Or do you want them to focus to say, look, the first way I want you to keep warm is with firewood over the straw cloak? And maybe you never want them to use a straw cloak. That's up to you. Maybe that's too luxurious for them. So, you know, the firewood makes sense to me. And then maybe, look, if we've got no firewood, go with sticks and then oil. But it's entirely up to you which way round you do them, but you get the idea there. You've got the same sort of thing with beverages. So this is the order that they would go with. So they would take these over these, which kind of makes sense, I suppose. They should have the more luxurious stuff, but you can lock any off that you want. And then with the maintenance, you can see the order of which they would maintain things in the place with is starting with chisel stone and moving all the way through, which is generally fine. But if you wanted to change the order, you could. There may be certain things that you don't want them to use, though, like on the health side of things. You know, do you want them to use all of these things here? But this also helps you figure out what you should be providing to help with each of these areas as the place develops. So I hope that Sengoku Dynasty Priorities Explained video helped you out. If it did, give us a thumbs up, please. Much appreciated. Any comments welcome. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what I do, hit that subscribe, will you? There's tutorials at the end of here on the playlist. Have a little look through those for other useful stuff. And if there's anything else you need, do let me know.